once again, thank you all for joining us today as we launch this book. Right beside me is Deji Yesufu, the author, and I'm going to have a quick chat with him before I hand over to him to read some excerpts from the book. Can someone please share the program? Can you please share the program in the chat so that people can follow through with what we are doing? Thank you once again for inviting me, asking me to moderate this program. It's an honor, and we are happy to be part of this process. And we are part of the journey too.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask a few questions so that people can get to know you. First of all, I'll read your profile. So for those who don't know you, I know many of the people who are here today are your friends, your family members. But for those who might not know you, I'm just going to read your profile briefly. Deji Yesufu is an ordained pastor of Providence Reformed Baptist Church, Ibadan. He's a theologian, an electrical engineer by profession. He has a master's degree in electrical engineering and a master's degree in radiation protection. He's a blogger, a husband of one wife, Dr. Jola Yesufu. She's also here with us somewhere in the background. And the father of two children, Desola and Sholua. They're also here in the background. He blogs at textandpublishing.com. He's committed to publishing articles on various issues around life and faith. Deji's first book, Victor Banjo, was published in 2018. The book tells the story of a Nigerian police officer caught up in eastern Nigeria during the Civil War and having to fight against Nigeria on the Biafran side. Deji has written numerous articles, many of which are published in national dailies, some on popular blogs and others on various social media outlets. He considers himself an opinion molder who centers his ideas around the Christian faith and how the gospel message can better the lot of men, both in this life and in the life to come. And I would like to add that Deji Yesufu is a very brilliant writer. I've had the privilege of seeing him, write on the spot. Can you hear me? Okay, all right. Okay. So this is your second book, right?
Yes.
So how do you feel?
Oh, well, the way the author feels like is like you're supposed to have published up to 10 books by now, but I'm grateful to God because this is like the second officially published book. Okay, but because of the nature of the way I write, I've done a lot of publications, many of them unofficial, of course. So I'm thankful.
All right. This morning, while you were on the show, Edmond Obilo's show, you made a statement which I certainly agree with. He said you're a prolific writer, and he wonders how you cope. Like when he wakes up, he sees that you have written an article, you have posted something, and I smiled when he said that because I have witnessed you. Sometimes we've had conversations, in the office, and the next thing you're on your computer writing 5-10 pages, and I'm wondering, how does this guy draw his inspiration? So that leads me to my second question. What inspires you? Normally on what inspired this book? Well, let me rephrase the question. So, in the light of what is going on today in Nigeria, so what inspired the writing of this?
Okay, so the book itself is a collection of writings. So there are writings that articles that I've written over the past 1 decade. Okay, I began to write very actively in 2013 because of basically same challenges all around. And I also realized that the internet offered opportunity for people like us who could not publish or get our articles to printed newspapers. We could use the internet. So I began actively using the internet to publish. And then I also got an engagement once from a blog. They were paying me very little to write for them. And the period I wrote for about 5 years or so, 4 years with them. And because they were a blog paying me every week, I had to produce something that was meaningful, So in this book, we have 101 articles. About half of those articles were taken from the time, were articles that I published with that blog. Okay. And then after that, I've had to publish articles on my own blog and so on. And Nigeria is I call Nigeria a drama country in the sense that there's more than enough to write on. So at some point, I stopped even writing on every theme or anything that I come across. I started focusing myself more to what I feel I was called to do. So that's more than enough to write. And then again, it's like my writing is like giving birth. Of course, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it is to do, but I have children. So it's like producing something, and until I produce it, I'm not at rest in my spirit. So that's what more or less leads me to write.
Okay. And this morning I saw a chat you sent, I think it was a broadcast message, and in your own words, you described the book as a book saturated with ideas to change our world. So, and I think that was an interesting statement to me. So I think this is still connected to the last question I asked. So why did you make that statement?
Yes, one of the articles that I wrote is in the chapter that is called, second chapter that is called Christianity. I said something about a TED talk on the Christian gospel. I imagine a lot, and I imagine myself being asked to come and give an 18-minute idea that can change the world, and while I was doing that, I thought, okay, what other idea could change this world than the gospel properly presented? So rather than saying it and giving it the talk, since I don't have an audience, I decided to write it, But that article itself more or less encapsulates the whole book, because every article in the book is an idea that can change the world. Okay, my first published book was Victor Banjo, and it followed an article I wrote in 2nd of June 2017. I just sat back. In fact, my family was all around me. They were watching TV, and I was like almost tipped over with my neck on the chair and the leg upwards, and I was just typing, and ideas were just coming. I was just typing. And by the time I published it, that article went near viral, and that was what led to the writing of the book. So I realized that every other article in the book itself can be developed into a whole book in itself. So that's just it. Maybe somebody can get this book and take one article out of it and write another book on it. But I think the long and short of it all is that Nigeria must begin to have conversations that will lead to the development of this country. And I'm thankful to God that Edmond Obilo is here to shed some light on it when
he's one of our reviewers. You made a very important statement that every idea in this book can actually be developed into another book of its own. And I share that sentiment with you. And that's personally what I'm hoping, that the readers, when they pick this book, will be able to develop their own thoughts, and So finally, before I hand over to you, this morning again, like I said, I think most of the questions I wanted to ask you, Edmond Obilo, when you told me you were going on Edmond Obilo show, I was like, hey, this man is going to steal my thoughts. Anyway, you spoke vehemently this morning about the Japa issue. I know that's something that is very, very, and I think that is one of from the excerpts you're reading this morning.
Yes.
This afternoon, rather.
It's going to be on the Japa.
Okay. So maybe I should not ask that question. So I'll just leave you. Because of time, I would hand over to you so that you can do your reading, and then you would invite our reviewers to review the book. So just for a very short 5 minutes, if you don't mind. So
how do I share my screen?
Okay.
For some reason, okay, I think I found.
All right.
Where should we?
Okay, so Deji Yesufu is going to be reading from his book. He's going to be picking a chapter to read from his book, after which we would invite our reviewers